Whether you just got your pilot's license or have thousands of flying hours, there are 5 learnable skills that are guaranteed to make you a better pilot. What's up everyone, I'm a private pilot and aviation enthusiast and this is Let's Go Aviate. The first skill on the list that makes any pilot better is gliding or sailplane flying experience. Gliding teaches excellent energy management skills by being able to soar for hours on end, but also because in any glider without a motor, every single landing is an engine out landing. Gliding also teaches where to catch updrafts and thermals and avoid downdrafts and rotor, which is an essential skill in gliding. This is an extremely useful skill set to possess in any aircraft, especially when regularly flying in close proximity to mountains or ridges. Glider pilots are also frequently drawn to certain types of cloud with vertical development, which is an indication of thermal activity, which will keep them flying for longer. Knowing which type of cloud to fly to in gliding means knowing which type of cloud to avoid when flying powered aircraft. The second skill I would learn to become a better pilot is flying conventional gear aircraft, also known as tail draggers. Tail draggers teaches excellent rudder skills without which no tail dragger can be safely taken off or landed. Unlike nose wheel or trike airplanes, the center of gravity of a tail dragger is behind the main wheels. When operating on the ground, this mass has a tendency to want to overtake the main wheels in the direction of inertia. When this happens, it's called a ground loop. Having superb rudder skills to keep the aircraft tracking straight in relation to the wheels severely lessens the likelihood of a ground loop happening. Tail draggers also teaches pilots to do proper full stall landings, as any excess speed or inadequate flare can easily make the aircraft bounce and become airborne again. These stick and rudder skills are definitely transferable to nose wheel aircraft and makes any pilot safer flying any type of aircraft, especially in the takeoff and landing stages. The next skill I would master to become a better pilot is upset attitude recovery or aerobatics training. It could be either or both, but they not only teach maneuvers, but how to safely and effectively get out of them. Upset recovery training is especially useful as it teaches the quickest and safest way to get the aircraft right side up after getting in an extreme attitude for whatever reason. Aerobatics lessons also teach us about the energy or speed required to do loops, rolls and other maneuvers. In case you were ever tempted to try this in your own aircraft, you'll know how high you need to be above ground and the general speeds required to successfully perform these maneuvers. Number 4 on the list is spot landings, and by that I mean power off spot landings. It teaches energy management the same as gliding, but being able to do spot landings in the aircraft type you regularly fly is an unbelievably useful skill to have. Being able to hit an exact spot on landing without using power is not only a cool skill to show off at spot landing competitions, but makes you a much safer pilot. In the event of an engine failure, knowing how far you can glide and if you are able to make your chosen field or not gives you a much higher chance of surviving an engine failure in any airplane type. And skill number 5, which will likely be a surprise entry in this list, is off-airport landings.
Really?
Now, stick with me, it will all make sense in a minute. When doing off-airport landings in a suitable aircraft, you get a better idea of what to look out for when choosing a spot to land. Your eye becomes sharper in seeing power lines and other objects that will ruin your day. Think back to when you first started getting flying lessons. Remember on the early navigation exercises, your instructor asking you if you have the destination field in sight? At first, your eye wasn't quite tuned in to finding airfields and it took a while to spot and recognize airfields. But a couple of years or dozens of flying hours later, you now easily spot airfields way quicker than any of your non-pilot passengers and friends. It's exactly the same when finding suitable off-airport spots to land. With some experience landing off airfield, we start seeing more places we can land in case of engine failure and make better decisions around choosing the most suitable field. This definitely carries over to all other types of aircraft, and even though some spots will likely break the gear of a Cessna 172, being able to quickly spot a field lacking the most dangerous objects means a much higher chance of surviving an off-airport landing after an engine failure, and often lets one walk away basically unscathed even if the aircraft is written off. But not only that, I believe having some off-airport landing experience helps pilots make better decisions in specific engine out events. Why do pilots attempt the impossible turn or try to stretch the glide to an airfield when there are perfect fields to land in within reach after having an engine failure after takeoff? Well, because runways is where we were taught to land. We land on runways hundreds and even thousands of times. Landing back on that runway is what we've come to know as safety. But that instinctive need to be back on that runway after suffering an engine failure has killed many pilots, causing deadly stall spin accidents. Instead, having some off-airfield landing experience helps pilots realize that the runway behind you is nowhere close to being the safest place to land in these situations, and that there are many more potential options in front of us. Having done off-airport landings means it's not an unknown anymore, and has given me a much better idea of what to expect. This has left me much more willing to take on any field rather than attempting the impossible turn or trying to stretch the glide to some far off road most resembling a runway. In addition to these 5 skills, there are several other exercises you can do in your own aircraft to become a better pilot. Watch this video next to see what exercises that is.